And of course we'd say no, and he'd point his finger at us and say, I'm going to count to 1. And you better not laugh. And of course, we never did laugh, right? I remember fighting that smile, but it comes out anyways. Or the Christmases where my sisters always got what I asked for. I think that was Mom and Dad's little joke on us because they had us wrap every present. The ones that were actually ours. And we knew the next day why Mom and Dad were always laughing about it. I remember trying to find something in common with Dad. Because let's face it, lipstick and nail polish wasn't really his thing. So every Sunday, for as long as I can remember, him and I would go over to the car show looking at all the cars. And I remember looking at a car and telling Dad, I bet you I can tell what one that is. And he's like, oh really? I said, yep, it's a 1956 whatever it was. And of course Dad was surprised because I really didn't pay attention to what the cars were. And then I'd start laughing as we're walking down, and he's like, what's so funny? I'm like, Dad, did you see the license plate? The year's right there. Or those nights when I'm underage drinking and can't find my way home. Dad was always the first call, and I remember him telling me how I needed to get picked up one time. I had no idea where I was. But I told him to come and get me. And when he got there, he was like, Carrie, where the hell are you? I was clearly all the way on the other side of the city. And it wasn't my bad directions. Dad must have taken a wrong turn. But he made it to wherever I was. And then getting in the car, you think that he'd sit there and yell at you. But no matter what, he was there. He found me, he didn't lecture me. He just gave us that look. You know, the one where he's just a little bit disappointed. I knew that you know better. But he was just glad that I was okay, even though I half expected to get reamed at. Or the time I threw a house party and told Mom and Dad that I was only going to have 5 people over. Well, there was 5 people, plus 145 others. And again, I got that one look from Dad, and we all knew that it was a you're in shit. And what it meant. 5 friends, he said. I said, well, I only told 5 friends. Dad's next move? He told everyone that the neighbors called the police, so we had to leave. So me and my friends went over to the park, right next to the house. And I remember waking up, my mom and dad there over me. They waited till I passed out to come and get me. And of course they were laughing because I think I had 1 drink and passed out. And let's not forget how stubborn Dad was. And all us girls, I think, were just as stubborn. And there really wasn't any negotiating, but the one thing we are is thankful that Dad was there for us. And growing up, I never really thought Dad was paying attention until recently when I had some time with him. And he brought up some things that I didn't think he would know about. But it just goes to show that Dad was always watching. He just let us do our thing. And I remember once calling home, I used to always talk to my mom. She said, why don't you girls ask for your dad? You know he wants to talk to you. So the next time I did call, I asked for Dad. I swear, it was the longest 5 minutes of us saying hello awkwardly. Because as a teen, I didn't really know how to talk to him. But we found our way later on. And everyone knows how big my dad's heart was and how much he loved each and every one here. You never really think that you're going to lose your parents, even though in your heart you know that it's going to happen eventually. And to every little girl, her dad's always her hero. And you just never realize that there's never enough time. This speech is from Amanda. I'm going to read for all my sisters and my nephew. I hope you don't get tired of my voice. What can I say about my dad? He was my best friend my whole life. The first time I saw him, he lost his hair. I walked in the restaurant, and he got up to come to me, and I hugged him so tight I started to cry. He said to me, "Don't cry, Andy. This isn't a sad day." I said, "Okay." Then I hugged him so tight I started to cry. Hold on to me just a little longer, then there's no one else sees me crying. And everything he did. He would often take me to work with him mostly because I wouldn't stop asking till he gave in. He would say, "Okay, Andy, get in, but you gotta work." Huh. I never did work, but he gave me money for falling asleep in the back seat. One winter I asked him to take me snow shoveling to earn money for Christmas, and he ended up doing all the work. And he would tell me to keep warm in the van. Every Saturday was our day with our dad. We would start off the day with Bugs Bunny and Tweety, then before bed watch Roseanne Copp's America's Most Wanted. They were the best days growing up. My dad worked so very hard for his girls. When he would come home, he would often fall asleep on the couch. And I felt it was my duty to cover him up, because he made sure we were covered every night, warm and safe. Most days, you would hear him come home and say, "Evelyn, come fight with me." Us girls clued in later. They weren't fighting at all.
Ew.
Like my sister said, our dad was a man of many stories. Even if you've heard them before, Lord knows you did, you couldn't help listening again. He had this way about him that could draw anyone to him. Growing up as girls, didn't really want for anything. Both our parents tried their best to give us what we needed and wanted. Memories of my parents are my dad playing guitar, singing to our mom, and us girls listening to country music and dancing with our mother. I've never seen two people more in love with them. Whenever you saw my dad, I wasn't far behind him. He was like a superhero to me. You can never stay mad at him either. He would smile at you and say, "Well, if I hold up one finger, we'll give you a smile." No? Okay, how about two? Still no? Well, how about four? Still nothing? Okay, I'm going to hold up five and you're going to laugh, as we always did. Little did he know that it took everything in me just not to smile at number one. My dad had the brightest blue eyes and a smile that could make anyone happy, and a voice that could listen all day. I'm going to miss those the most. He would always say, "I love you, be a good boy." And we thought it was hilarious, like, "Dad, we're not boys." Jeez. He called me Andy, the son he never had. You see, our parents only had girls, and I had always felt bad because I thought he always wanted a boy. But talking to him a few years back, he said, "I was given girls, and that's what I wanted. You guys kept me on my toes, and that's for sure." My dad wasn't a hard man to love, to be honest. He made it very easy, and it's probably one of those reasons you're all here today. Visiting him last month, we were out having a smoke, and I broke down in tears. And I told him that I wasn't ready for him to leave me yet, that he was my best friend, and how I'd be so lost without him. He said, "Andy, I'm not ready to leave you, but I'll be always with you." Tears running down my face. I said, "Oh yeah, how?" He said, "Like if you stub your toe, you bet your ass I'm going to be right there laughing. If you're sad, I'll be right there holding 5 fingers to make you laugh. I'll always be with you girls, I love you. Now be a good boy, stop crying." There are so many funny stories and great stories of my dad. He wasn't perfect, but he was perfectly imperfect for us. And I couldn't have asked for a better dad. I love you so much, Dad. I'll always be your Andy. And you'll always be mine. Have a dance with Mom for me, just to make sure it isn't your making baby, Tony Braxton, keep it PG. Until we meet again, I'll be missing you and loving you so much. And this one's from Brooke. Corey Miller, a name I never thought I would see upon a memorial for many years. And yet, here we are today. For those of you who don't know, my father was the kind of man that you could talk to for hours. Always had a story about something. Always had a tale to tell. You wouldn't even need to prompt him. If he sat there long enough, he would start, and often would be hard to stop once he got on a roll. He was funny. You could sit there and bounce many jokes back and forth, and a lot of them were offensive, so I won't tell you them here. But one of my favorite was, "I know a great knock-knock joke. You start." Sometimes I'd even Google a list of jokes to bounce off him, trying to best him at his own game. But usually he already knew the best ones. It's the little things you find you miss when someone is no longer around. My dad wasn't usually home when I woke up because he had to work. But on the rare days I woke up and heard him talking, I'd always run to the living room to hear what he was saying. Missed that especially today, when I woke up to the TV on and a man was talking, but it wasn't my dad. His smell was something I don't think I'll ever forget either. Always faintly like car parts, but never overwhelming. Mostly comforting. When I was very little, every night when I couldn't sleep, he was laying on the couch watching TV, and I would come downstairs and lay on his chest and watch Cops with him, our favorite show, and fall right back to sleep, and somehow teleport to my bedroom by morning. He was a superhero. Christmas mornings, we weren't allowed to even touch our presents, even though me and Amanda already snooped, unless we had breakfast together as a family first, which was the only day out of the year that he cooked breakfast for everyone. His hatred for Shania Twain was something I always got a giggle out of. If you even played her music within 25 feet of him, you would hear in the distance, "Turn that cow off." Mumble, mumble, mumble. I can't stand that woman. And he would go off on a tangent about how much he hated her. It was my go-to if I was ever lacking entertainment. My parents were social butterflies and would often have people over to drink and blast country music. And my dad would sing to my mom and dance right there in the living room as if there were only two people there, in spite of all their flaws. There was never a doubt of how much they loved each other. I've never seen two people more perfect for one another than my mom and dad. They looked at each other as if the other put the stars up at night just for them. I'm lucky to have grown up seeing that. Even when they weren't exactly perfect, I got to see firsthand what love really was. I never thought that one day I would have to say goodbye to my dad. I thought he would live forever. Because even though I have my sisters, my parents made up half of me. And I never thought I'd lose the other half, especially so soon. I'll forever be thankful for the part of him that he has given me, most importantly his eyes, because I know that every time I look in the mirror, a piece of him is looking right back at me, forever. I love you, Dad. I'll be a good boy. Give Mom the biggest hug for me, and I'll see you again when it's my time to come. I also have something from but this wind would just settle down. So this one's from Tyson. All my memories with him were amazing. He taught me everything I know to this day. It was always awesome when he taught me how to fish and use a boat. I remember one time his good friend went fast in his boat, and since then I've hated boats. My grandpa was like a second dad to me when mine wasn't there. He even taught me how to drive. He taught me how to drive his 1998 Chevy Silverado. Man, it was a blast. I remember he could call me Sonny. It meant a lot. But sadly, he won't be here to call me Sonny anymore. I'm really going to miss waking up to your bacon. You make me every day, and hearing your voice all day, every night. You'd hug me, and when I didn't hug you tight, you'd say, "Come on, I know you can do better than that." And when I was just about to leave, you'd say, "I love you, Sonny." I'm going to miss you so much, Grandpa. I love you with all my heart. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, Papa. And the last one I'm going to read, Aunt Margot had sent, and she wanted me to read it to you guys. For all the mothers and fathers forever so broken-hearted, when a life comes to stop before it even started, I wrote this poem for you. For the grieving siblings sadly and quietly left behind, for those whose place now in this life is not so well defined, I wrote this poem for you. For the son and daughter whose hand reaches for the phone, forgetting for the moment there will be nobody home, I wrote this poem for you. For the grieving friends and family living so far away, whose lives return to normal, but still remember day to day, I wrote this poem for you. To all the hearts that struggle with a grief difficult to explain, who work to make sense and to remember beyond the pain, I wrote this poem for you. For all those who reach out to gently touch a grieving heart, to remind them of the memories and the love from there to start, I wrote this poem for you. For everyone who's missing someone special today, who hold on to the truth that love can never fade, I wrote this poem for you. I just want to tell everybody, I'm so glad that all of you could make it today. And if anybody has any memories or anything that they would like to share, come on up and share them with us, if you want.